Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Grow with Google class, all about protecting yourself from online scams. In today's class, we're going to talk about several ways that scammers try to get personal information and money from people online. We'll go over the most common types of scams and give you tools to help you keep yourself, your personal information, and your money safe. My name is Brian Kaplan. Thank you for joining me today. I'm your dedicated trainer for the Grow with Google program, and I've been in digital marketing and helping small businesses market their companies for the better part of 15 years, so I've seen my fair share of scams. I'm going to be offering some of my own insights in today's class as well. I welcome you to join me at upcoming classes by going to briankaplan.com/classes. In today's class, we'll start by learning how to open a new document to use for taking notes. We'll be using Google Docs. As a note, some of you probably have worked with Google Docs and you could open a doc and create it and organize it in a second. But there may be some that are watching this class right now who are just getting started. So we'll just take a few minutes to make sure that they're on the same playing field as you and everyone can take notes and learn together as we go through the class. Then we're going to talk about what online scams are and what scammers are looking for. We'll cover the different ways you can protect your information. Then we'll look at examples of common scams you may encounter. And finally, we'll review some of the signs of scams so you'll be able to stay alert and avoid scammers. So I want you to think for a second. What have you heard about online scams? Have you or someone you know been approached online by a person or business you suspected was actually running a scam? Maybe start taking some notes down about what you observe when you see those scams. What types of wording or language is being used? And we're going to talk about some of that in just a little bit. But start making observations and making mental notes when you observe a scam so that you can avoid it the next time. As we go through this lesson, you'll have the chance to type your thoughts and observations in a digital document called a Google Doc. To create a Google Doc, you first have to sign into your Google account. If you don't have a Google account yet, you'll need to create one. And to do so, you would open a web browser and go to www.google.com. Then you're going to click Sign In. When you do, you'll be brought to a screen and you see this green oval on the screen around the words Create Account. Click there, follow the prompts, and you'll be able to create your account. Signing into your Google account is a process that ensures that only you can access your account. So you want to open a new tab in the browser window and go to google.com. If you're not signed in, you're going to click on Sign In. Then you'll be prompted to enter your username, click on Next, and then you'll be prompted to enter your password. Now let's create a new blank Google Doc and give it a title. I'll start by demonstrating each step, then you can try it on your own. Later in the class, you can use the Google Doc to type some notes about the different scams we'll explore together. Okay, here we go. From google.com, open the Google Apps menu in the upper right corner. You see that circle appeared. It's that box button. It's basically 3x3 grid, 9 dots. I think it looks like a waffle, so I sometimes call it the waffle button, but it's the Apps button, the Google Apps button. By clicking on that, it opens a menu, and then you can select Google Docs. When you click on Google Docs, the Google Docs app will open, and you'll select Blank Document. So we're going to give your document a title. The title should let you know what the document's about and help you find it when you want to open it later. Sometimes when I'm creating documents and they're for just internal use, here's a tip. Sometimes I'll put the date, or I might put the theme of what I'm talking about, the subject, in the title. So today, to title your document, what you would do is you would click on Untitled Document, as you see here on the screen circled, and then you can type in your title. You can feel free to use the name of this workshop or even a shortened version of it, like Avoid Online Scams. Now it's your turn. So I want you to create and title a Google Doc. I'll give you just a few minutes and you can go ahead and do so. From google.com, open the Google Apps menu. Then you're going to find and click the Google Docs icon. Then you'll select a blank doc. And finally, you're going to type in your new title. Okay, now that you've set up your doc, you can type it in. You can type in it, and you can add notes at any time during the workshop about online scams and how to protect yourself from them. So let's start by defining the word scam. A scam is a deliberate attempt to cheat someone out of money or personal information. Scams are nothing new. People have been finding ways to take advantage of others for a very long time. But the rise of the internet and social media has now made it even easier. Since you can communicate with just about anyone online, people who want to commit scams, known as scammers, can use the internet to quickly and easily find and contact anyone with an online presence. And scammers can work anonymously by building websites, email addresses, or fake social media profiles, which can make it difficult or impossible to track them down. The goal of this class today isn't to make you distrustful of people you meet online, though. One of the great things about the internet is the way it allows us to connect with others and commune with others. Still, it's important to know how to spot potential scams so you can keep yourself and your personal information safe. Now that we know what scams are, let's talk a bit about what scammers want from the people they contact on the internet. Scammers are generally looking for two things: money and personal information. The money that scammers are looking for can come in various forms, including bank payments, wire transfers, credit or debit payments, or even gift cards. They may try to get personal information that can help them access your bank accounts, social media accounts, or other personal accounts online. This information includes usernames and passwords for websites and social media accounts, your social security number, and your bank account information. They can then use this information to steal your identity, contact your friends and family, or even gain access to your accounts and devices. Scammers can also make money by selling your personal information to a third party. The third party then uses your personal information for their own purposes. There are also types of personal information that may seem less confidential than passwords, but they're still important to keep private for the sake of your online security. If you log into an online bank account for extra security, you might be asked questions like, what's your mother's maiden name? Or what's the name of your first pet? I know I've used both of those security questions before. These security questions are designed to be easy for you to remember and hard for someone else to guess. Be wary of anyone online who tries to get that type of information from you. If you use social media, you've likely come across quizzes that claim to figure out things about your personality. Or maybe you've been asked to answer questions like, what would your name be if you were a character in a popular TV show? These seemingly harmless quizzes are often scams. They're actually designed to get the answers to those hard to guess security questions, protecting your online accounts. Avoid participating in online quizzes that encourage you to share this kind of information. Now, the good news is you can outsmart scammers by learning the signs of a potential scam and by always protecting your personal information online. We're going to spend the rest of the class discussing some frequently attempted scams so you'll know how to recognize them and protect yourself. And let's take a look at a few different examples of scams you might encounter online. After you see each example, you'll have the chance to type your thoughts and observations into your Google Doc. So I'll read this email aloud. Subject: urgent. Your big city bank account has been compromised. Dear Joe, your Citibank account has been compromised. Secure your account immediately by providing us with your login ID, password, and social security number. For your convenience, click on the link below to submit your information. Secure my account. Thank you for your cooperation, Big City Bank. Now, please note this example was designed to look similar to an email that would come from a bank. If someone really received an email like this, it would likely have a real bank's name and logo on it. I want you to take a few minutes to type your thoughts about this scam in Google Doc. If you have let me go back, and if you want to just take a look at a few different elements. The from name, or the from email rather, bigcity.bank@gmail.com. I'm willing to bet that any legitimate bank owns their domain. So I would see support or accounts at bigcitybank.com instead of bigcity.bank@gmail.com. So it already shows me that they don't have a professional email address. Then the subject line, urgent in all caps. Your Big City bank account has been compromised. Take a look at that subject line. What do you think of that? Then look at the message. What are they doing in this message to make you react? Does anything stand out to you? Does anything make you kind of stand up and you think, oh my goodness, if I received this email, I would act right away too? So I want you to write those notes down. Now let's talk about some of the warning signs you may have spotted in this email. And this email is an example of a type of scam called phishing. Phishing, spelled with a PH, is when a scammer impersonates a company or person in order to trick someone into giving up their valuable personal information. Usually, phishing takes place through emails, internet ads, or copies of websites that look similar to the ones you already use. For example, you could receive an email from your bank, a store where you shop, or an online payment processor, and they state that there's a problem with your account, and they need your login information in order to fix it. Since this email states that you need to act immediately, it creates a sense of urgency to get you to send your information quickly. Urgency is a tool that scammers use a lot. They want you to respond right now. Other scams may use urgency by telling you that an offer is only available for a limited time or someone is in need of immediate help. But urgency can also be used to make you feel excited or concerned so that you act on emotion. The real purpose of urgency in a scam is to get you to finish a transaction or send information before you stop to think it through or talk it over with anyone else. If you think a situation is urgent, you are far more likely to send personal information or even money than you would be in an everyday situation. And scams often contain links or forms to fill out. There may also be attachments to open. Links and attachments can be sent in emails via social media messaging or even via text. Links can be used to collect information about you, upload dangerous materials to your device, or email your contacts. Likewise, scammers use forms to collect your information. Some scams, though, encourage people to open attachments, which can upload a virus or other harmful programming to your computer or device. If you're not sure whether something is a scam, don't click links, don't fill out any forms, and do not open any attachments from the questionable source. It's always better to be cautious than to accidentally give away your personal information or put your device at risk. Now, legitimate businesses will never ask for your login information or other personal details through email. Remember that. Legitimate businesses won't ask you for your username or password. They won't ask you for other personal details through email. If it's a legitimate business and they're going to ask you to log into your account, or they'll send you instructions on how you can reset your password. If you receive a questionable email from a bank or other business where you have an account, you can call the business directly to ask about it and verify. And if you need to visit the business's website, open a new tab and type in their web address into the browser or search for it on Google rather than clicking any link provided in a suspicious communication. Scammers may also use threats or a threatening tone to get money or information. Threats can scare people into giving their personal information or a payment before they realize they're being scammed. Threats can make people think they're going to lose something important like housing or access to their computer. People can also be threatened with humiliation. For example, scammers might send an email claiming they have hacked your device and have embarrassing photos or footage of you. Sometimes they'll include an old password in the email to prove they're serious. Then they'll demand you send money in order to stop them from distributing the footage. If you receive a communication like this, honestly, it is best to not reply to the email or respond in any way. So if you received an email like that, what would you do? Write down what your plan would be or how you would make observations on that email to determine if you thought it was a scam or if it was legitimate. If you receive an email you suspect is a phishing, you have a few options. If you know it's a fake email, you can just ignore it. If the email claims to be from an organization you're involved with or someone you know, reach out to them directly. Do not respond to the email, but contact them using a known email address. Another good option is just pick up the phone and call them, speak to them over the phone. That way you know exactly who you're talking to. Do not click any links or open any attachments. And finally, if you know an email is phishing, you have the option of reporting it. The next slide will show you how to do that. If you have a Gmail account, I want you to follow these steps. So you'll open the phishing email, right? So we're seeing here, urgent, form needed. That's a phishing email. Then we're going to click on the More button, and that's these three dots going up and down, stacked on top of each other. You click on that. By doing so, it brings out a menu. And on this menu, you see right here, down in the middle, Report Phishing. By clicking on Report Phishing, you'll be able to submit that email and report it as a phishing attempt. If you use an email account from a different provider, you can search online for information about how to report phishing for that specific email provider. Imagine that you come across this advertisement on a job site. $5,000 to $10,000 per day, work from home, and stop signs. Stop everything you're doing. Read this. Choose your own schedule. Make money as an undercover shopper. 15 hours a week, 80,000 plus bonuses, no interview necessary. Email awesomesecurityjob@gmail.com. So after you read the posting, you decide to email the address listed. You hear right back, and Susan, the recruiter, is so happy to hear from you. She says you'll be able to start right away after you pay for a training session. Okay, what are the observations that you can make based off this job description, this advertisement on a job site? What things are standing out to you? Look at the title of the job posting. Look at how they use text. Are they using all caps? Are they using regular sentence case? Do they have any errors or omissions, or do they have any misspellings? Once you make your notes, let's go over it. So, employment scams often claim to offer jobs that seem too good to be true. They may state that they require few hours and pay very well. Often, scammers will claim you'll be able to earn lots of money by doing something easy from home, like online shopping or playing video games. Or you may respond to a job posting you found on a website and find that the employer wants to hire you without an interview or background check. The scam may start as soon as you apply for the job, and when scammers ask for your personal information to process the application. Or it may start after they claim to have hired you, when they ask you for your bank information to process your payment. One sign of an employment scam is if you are asked to pay for anything up front. You may be told that in order to start the job, you have to pay for training or pay fees for software, a credit report, or to have your resume reviewed. An honest employer will never ask you to pay money or to provide your credit card information in order to give you a job. Now, if you're a contractor or you're self employed working with a company, of course, there may be some investment required. But as an employee who would be working for the company, they should not be asking you to pay to work for them. Spotting employment scams can be difficult because legitimate employers may also ask for personal information. They usually require your social security number and may also ask your bank information if you decide to set up direct deposit. However, do not provide that information unless you are certain that the job is legitimate and not a scam. The saying, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is, totally applies here. Scammers often make offers that are too good to be true. And this tactic works in the same way as creating a sense of urgency. You get excited, so you don't stop to think before you act by providing your personal information. The ad we looked at is offering a job with high pay that only requires 15 hours a week and no interview is required. Now, scammers may offer you an opportunity to make a lot of money with almost no effort. They may pose as an enthusiastic recruiter offering you an amazing, easy, and profitable job. The fact that the recruiter asks for payment upfront is a red flag. No legitimate job should require you to pay for training or to complete a credit check in order to begin. You also should not be required to provide personal information like your address, social security number, or bank account information until you've been offered the job and can verify that the company and the role are both legitimate and trustworthy. One possible sign of a scam is seeing words misspelled, also known as typos in a job listing, in an email, or an ad. If you notice a lot of grammar and spelling mistakes, a scammer may have created the content that you're viewing. It is possible for legitimate communications from companies to contain mistakes or errors. I see them all the time. But most will have someone proofread their work carefully so it's not common, or at least not as frequent in the postings. Another potential sign of a scam is a mistake in the design elements of a communication. If a scammer is impersonating an actual company, you'll usually see the company's logo or other related images, but they may not look right. For example, the color or sizing of the logo may look slightly different. However, if scammers are very careful and very detail-oriented, they can make their materials look convincing. If a communication is error-free and looks right, but it's otherwise suspicious, you should not trust that it's legitimate. So if you had seen that ad for a job post and received an email from the employer asking you to pay for a training session, what would you do? Now, if you see a job advertised online that appears too good to be true, verify it with an internet search. Search for the name of the company, the job title, even the name of the contact you've been in communication with. You can also type in the company name and the word scam into an internet search to see if others have experienced similar scams. Don't pay for any training or other job associated costs ahead of time. And don't give away your personal information until you have managed to verify that the job is legitimate. To research a suspicious job offer or a company, here are some steps you can take. Type google.com into your browser's address bar. Then you're going to press enter on your keyboard. This will take you to Google's search page. Now, you see we're at google.com. On google.com, you can see the search bar in the center of the page. The search bar is circled in green. That's where you're going to type in your search into Google. So you click on the search bar, and then you type the words you want to search for. In this case, you should do separate searches for the job and the company name. After you type in your first search words, click enter or return on your keyboard and search for the name of the company, the job title, and the word scam. If a company is legitimate, they should have a professional looking website, but if you're being scammed, you may find information or posts in forums or blog posts about the scam online. Now let's take a look at one more type of scam. You connect with a person on social media who seems like a great match. The relationship progresses quickly, as you have many common interests and experiences, and you invite them out for a date several times, but they're never able to meet in person. You get to know each other through chatting and text, and after a week or two, the person writes you an urgent message. They're having a medical emergency. They need you to send them money to help pay their medical bills. Earlier in the workshop, we mentioned how online scammers often use people's emotions against them. And this is particularly true of dating and romance scams. According to the Federal Trade Commission, Americans lost over $300 million to romance scammers in 2020. That's up about 50% over 2019. Dating and romance scams can be initiated online through social media or on dating apps and websites. For their profile pictures, romance scammers often use photos they find online from actual dating profiles or stock photographs. Scam relationships tend to progress quickly without any face to face interaction. And when someone asks to meet in person, a last minute emergency will often arise to prevent that from happening. Or the scammer will claim to live too far away to visit or have some other issue that keeps them from traveling. The scammer may then soon claim to have a financial emergency, and they'll ask you for a payment, gift cards, or some other form of financial assistance. If the scammer receives payment, the requests continue and increase over time. So take a few moments to type your thoughts about this type of scam in your Google Doc. And as you do, I'll tell you a quick story. One of my family members is actually on an online dating site. I helped them build their profile, and they were messaged probably about a year ago by this handsome gentleman who was very interested in them. They struck up conversation, really hit it off. And then the family member came to me and said, "Hey, look at this person. I'm interested in going on a date with them." Well, there's a show on MTV called Catfish, and on that show, I learned a trick that I'm going to show you. It's called a reverse image search. The reverse image search allowed me to take that person's picture from their online dating profile, search for it on Google, and unfortunately, we found out that that picture belonged to someone totally different. And so my family member was being scammed. Now, this scam uses some tactics we've already covered. It often starts with someone who seems too good to be true, that unicorn. Scammers can be experts at telling you what you want to hear. They may even find pictures of other people online and claim that they are pictures of themselves, just like what happened with my family member. Next up, there's urgency. This person you've suddenly grown close with has a sudden emergency, and they need your help now. Once you've sent money, it's likely that a scammer will keep finding new urgent reasons to ask for more. Finally, there's a request for payment. There are lots of different ways romance scammers ask for money. They may ask for money transfers or wires, or even gift cards to help them cover expenses. If you had become involved with someone romantically online and were starting to wonder if they might be a romance scammer, what would you do? So you want to take your time getting to know someone online before you get serious about a relationship. Insist on meeting in person, safely and in public, early in the relationship. Don't send them money, gift cards, or other forms of financial support. And listen to friends and family who express concerns about your online relationship. When you start talking to someone online, ask for more photos. If the person you're communicating with is a scammer, they may be using images they copied from someone else's social media accounts or somewhere else on the internet, and they'll probably run out of photos sooner or later. To help prove that they are the person they claim to be, you can even ask them to take a photo with that day's newspaper or doing something specific like touching their nose or holding up 4 fingers. This type of photo would be hard to fake or copy from the internet. And if they can't send you a photo like this, it's likely they're not a person that they say they are. You can also do a reverse image search to learn more about a photo. To start, you're going to go type images.google.com into your browser's address bar. Then you'll press enter. And that's going to bring you to this page where you're going to see, you'll be able to click on this camera right here and upload an image. The image will then be processed and searched through Google's index of all the images in Google's image library, and it will provide you with results that match that image. Now that we've gone through different examples of scams, let's recap some signs of potential scams we've covered. We'll start with too good to be true. Remember, scammers want you to be too excited about an offer, a person, or an opportunity to think clearly. Next, there's urgency. If something has to happen immediately, someone wants you to do something right away, or if scammers want you to believe that there will be repercussions if you don't act right away, you're more likely to make a decision without taking time to think it through. And then links and attachments are some of the quickest ways to scam someone. By clicking on a link or downloading an attachment, you can put your device and information at risk. And then there's requests for personal information. Remember, scammers can use your personal information to gain access to your bank, social media accounts, or even steal your identity. Legitimate companies will never ask for your bank account information or your passwords or PIN numbers. There's also a request for payment. It's one of the clearest signs a scam is underway. Scammers may ask you for money transfers, gift cards, or other types of payments to help them cover expenses. When you see typos like spelling errors in a communication, it may have come from a suspicious source. Threats can cause you to worry that you'll get in trouble. They're designed to make you take action because you're afraid of losing something or being embarrassed. So now you're familiar with a few different online scams, and you know how to spot common signs of a scam. Keep in mind that many of these signs also apply to other kinds of scams, using different forms of communication. For example, scammers use similar tactics to scam people over the phone or via text. You can always use your notes as a reference to remind yourself of what you learned today. And your Google Doc is saved automatically. You can always open it again to read your notes or to add more notes in the future about scams. From Google.com, you open the Google Apps menu in the upper right corner, and then you would click on Drive. And depending on how your drive is organized, you can scroll to find our most recent document or click on the Recent tab. Then you can also search for the title of your document, find it, click on it, and you're opened it up and can start taking notes. We covered quite a lot in today's class. I showed you how to set up a Google Doc. We walked through what online scams are and what these scammers are looking for, namely your money or personal information. We also looked at 3 examples of scams: phishing, job, and romance. And we identified some common signs of scams so that you can be vigilant the next time you think you happen upon a scam. I want to thank you for attending, investing your time in protecting yourself online, and thank you for joining me at this Grow with Google class. I hope to see you soon at a future class. Until then, stay well, stay healthy, stay happy, and here's to your success.